Imagine this. You're on a work trip halfway across the world. Focused, locked in, maybe even texting your wife between meetings. Then boom, a Coldplay concert goes viral. Not because of the music, not because of the band, but because of your wife. She's on the kiss cam with another man, and it's not you. In front of thousands in the stadium and millions online. She leans in, smiling, laughing, kissing, like nothing in her world is broken. But yours just shattered. For Andrew Cabot, it wasn't just betrayal. It was humiliation, public, loud, permanent, and worst of all, broadcast in HD.no statements. No apologies, just silence from him, and a storm of speculation from everyone else. But now the story isn't just rumor anymore. The divorce is official. And what's coming out behind the scenes? It's worse than anyone thought. This is the story of a kiss cam that destroyed a marriage. Coldplay's Music of the Spheres tour had rolled into town, and Boston was buzzing. 65,000 fans, a sold-out stadium, lights, fireworks, the works. For most, it was just another unforgettable concert. But for one man, that night would shatter everything he thought he knew about his life and about his wife, Kristin Cabot, wife of WWE executive Andrew Cabot, PR manager by title, but known behind the scenes for running tight backstage operations and walking red carpets beside her husband. Charming, stylish, always smiling. She was the kind of woman who understood how to stay just far enough out of the spotlight, until the spotlight found her. Next to her that night, Andy Byron, not just a friend, not just a colleague, her boss, senior VP of marketing at WWE, married, 2 kids, the kind of man who always knew where the cameras were, or maybe thought he did. Midway through Coldplay's emotional set, the camera pans across couples in the audience. The crowd cheers, some laugh, others shy away. But when Kristin and Andy appear, they don't. They lean in, comfortable, close, and then they kiss. It's not a peck. It's not staged. It's something else. Even Coldplay's lead singer, Chris Martin, breaks character to react. Guess someone found their paradise tonight. The crowd erupts, but somewhere across the globe, Andrew Cabot is watching. Or worse, maybe he's not. Maybe he's on a business call, or asleep. Maybe the first time he sees it is when the video hits his phone, because by morning, it's viral. Memes, Reddit threads, YouTube breakdowns, people zooming in on wedding rings, dissecting body language, speculating on how long it had been going on. Clips titled Coldplay Homewrecker Cam rack up millions of views in hours. Someone even puts it to music, Coldplay's Fix You. It's both hilarious and horrific. And just like that, a very private betrayal becomes absurdly public. But here's the real gut punch. Neither Kristin nor Andy say a word. No apology, no denial, no spin. And Andrew? Radio silence. Until now. Because today the divorce is final. And the papers? They don't just confirm what we feared. They expose what no one saw coming. This isn't just a scandal. It's a career implosion. And maybe a love story that was never real to begin with. To understand why this moment hit like a freight train, you need to know who Andrew Cabot really is, and what he had or thought he had with Kristin. Andrew isn't your typical headline name. He's not a wrestler, not an actor. He's a businessman, quiet, strategic, legacy-minded, born into the Cabot family, one of New England's oldest names. Andrew always had money but never chased fame. He built his name through Privateer Rum, a boutique spirits company that turned into a silent giant. Not flashy, not gimmicky, just serious quality. Just like him. By 2022, he was in his 40s, successful, respected, and finally ready to settle down. That's when Kristin walked into his life. She wasn't a debutante or a society girl. She was a grinder, a self-made PR strategist at a startup called Astronomer, known for her hustle, charisma, and social savvy. Not just beauty brilliance. They met through mutual friends. What started as late-night wine chats about branding and business quickly turned into a whirlwind romance. By fall 2022, they were married. A discreet ceremony. No People magazine photos. Just close friends, family, and 2 people who believed they were building something real. They bought a home just outside Boston. She decorated it. He stocked the wine cellar. They hosted dinners for investors, charity fundraisers, low-key birthday parties for his nieces. On the outside, they looked like a power couple in the making. But it wasn't just the marriage. Kristin became part of his business world too. She started advising on brand image, connecting privateer with influencers, pitching strategy updates. To some inside the company, it seemed like she was becoming a partner in more ways than one. And for Andrew, that was the dream. A woman who got his world, who matched his vision, who didn't need him but chose him. So when the kiss cam moment exploded, it wasn't just about infidelity. It was about betrayal on every level. Romantic, emotional, financial. Because Kristin didn't just step out of the marriage. She stepped on it, mocked it, broadcast the end of it, while smiling in someone else's arms. And maybe the worst part, that someone else wasn't just a stranger. It was a man Andrew knew, trusted, welcomed into his circle. This wasn't just a wife walking away. It was a whole world unraveling in real time. The kiss cam was just the spark. The explosion came after. At first, it seemed like an innocent moment. Two colleagues, one kiss, maybe a little too familiar. But then the pause, the way Kristin glanced at the screen, saw herself and froze. The way Andy pulled back just half a second too late. It wasn't romantic. It wasn't casual. It looked guilty. And the internet? It noticed everything. By the next morning, TikTok sleuths were breaking down the clip like it was the Zapruder film. Notice how Kristin's hand lingers behind his neck, enhance the reflection in the beer glass, she's wearing a ring. Reddit threads popped up with titles like "Caught at Coldplay, a corporate affair?" Some users even dug up a blurry photo of the two leaving a Marriott downtown 3 weeks before the concert. Memes flooded in. Kristin was dubbed Coldplay Camilla. Andy became Backstage Byron. Someone edited the moment into WWE commentary footage, Jim Ross screaming "Oh my God" as Kristin leans in. But behind the jokes, the damage was very, very real. At Astronomer, the startup where both Kristin and Andy worked, panic set in fast. Andy was VP of Marketing, a key figure for fundraising and brand partnerships. Kristin handled internal comms, PR, and media strategy. They weren't just co-workers. They were public-facing leadership, the people companies trusted to manage crises. Now, they were the crisis. Less than 72 hours after the kiss cam clip went viral, Astronomer announced Andy Byron had voluntarily resigned. The statement was clinical, cold, the kind you release when you're hoping everyone just moves on. Kristin's name wasn't mentioned, but her LinkedIn, deleted. Her Instagram, gone. Even old YouTube panels she had spoken at quietly set to private. She didn't issue a statement, didn't deny, didn't explain. She just vanished. And while the internet howled with laughter and outrage, Andrew said nothing. Not a tweet, not a quote, not even a leak to the press. Because while Kristin and Andy were dealing with PR fallout, Andrew was dealing with grief, private grief, that had become a public circus. He was suddenly everywhere. Paparazzi at Logan Airport, tabloids publishing satellite photos of his home, TMZ speculating on divorce lawyers. One outlet even tried to get a reaction shot of him walking out of a Whole Foods. This wasn't just betrayal. This was humiliation. Broadcast, packaged, retweeted, and maybe that's what made it so different from most scandals. This wasn't a celebrity cheating scandal with statements from sources close to the couple. There was no Vanity Fair exclusive, no high-powered spin doctor releasing a timeline. It wasn't scripted. It was raw. A kiss on a screen, a husband across the world, and 1,000 strangers playing judge, jury, and meme maker. And through all of it, Andrew remained silent. But silence isn't the same as surrender. Behind the scenes, something was happening. Not in the press, but in court, in documents, in strategy. Turned Kristin into a punchline. Andrew did what he'd been trained to do since childhood. He played the long game. Insiders close to the Cabot family said he was devastated. Not angry, broken. He disappeared from his company's day-to-day for nearly 3 weeks, pulled out of events, ghosted interviews. People whispered he wasn't eating, that he barely spoke, that he just sat on the back porch of their home in Gloucester, looking out at the ocean like he was waiting for something to come back that never would. But silence isn't weakness. In Andrew's world, it's power. And when he finally did speak, it wasn't with words. It was with paperwork. On July 25th, just 3 weeks after the Coldplay concert, court records in Essex County confirmed it. Andrew Cabot had filed for divorce. And a warning. No delay. Just a clean, quiet, lethal strike. And then the leaks began. Someone close to the filing tipped off the Boston Banner, a regional outlet that had been quietly tracking the story. And what they found inside the divorce documents was confirmation that this wasn't just a messy breakup. It was a total unraveling. Andrew accused Kristin of conduct unbecoming of a marital partner, legal speak for infidelity. He cited irreconcilable reputational harm, a rare clause, one typically used when a partner's behavior affects not just the relationship, but the brand. And here's where it gets brutal. Kristin had signed a prenup, standard in Cabot family marriages, but this one included an infidelity clause. If proven, she'd walk away with nothing but what she came in with. No stake in the Gloucester house, no slice of privateer rum, not even the Audi he gave her for their first anniversary. And while Kristin was vanishing from the internet, Andrew was quietly removing her from his empire. Her consulting profile was taken off the privateer site, her name scrubbed from charity invites. Even friends close to the couple stopped tagging her in photos. It was a systematic deletion, not loud, not petty, just final. This was the moment the narrative flipped from the humiliated husband to the strategic assassin. He didn't need to explain himself. The court filings did that for him. He didn't clap back. He simply erased her, because sometimes silence isn't grief, it's warfare. And when it came to war, Andrew Cabot wasn't here to fight fair. He was here to end it, with dignity, with control, and most of all on his terms. Careers ended, reputations ruined, families torn. And when the dust finally settled, nobody walked away clean. Let's start with Kristin, once a rising star in tech PR, now a ghost. No LinkedIn, no company affiliation, no public statement, just disappeared. People close to astronomer say her departure was quiet but immediate. One former co-worker told Boston Weekly, the moment that clip dropped, it was like she didn't exist anymore. And inside the company, it was a branding nightmare. Clients questioned leadership. Investors demanded updates. The kiss cam became an HR meme, a joke that was anything but funny. Because here's the ugly truth. The scandal didn't just affect Kristin and Andy. It stained everyone around them. Team members got flooded with press requests. Recruiters pulled job offers. Even junior staffers who'd once posted lunch pics with Kristin suddenly made their profiles private. The ripple effect was real and vicious. Meanwhile, Andrew, he said nothing, still hasn't, and yet, somehow his silence became power. While Kristin was erased, Andrew was respected. He didn't clap back. He didn't play the victim. He just moved methodically. Privateer Rum released a limited edition Solstice Reserve 2 weeks after the filing. The tagline, Still Waters, Stronger Spirits, sold out in 72 hours. Some say it was planned all along. Others aren't so sure. Whispers began about a full brand refresh, new bottle design, new partnerships. Some even believe Andrew might sell the company altogether, cash out, walk away, and start something new, on his terms, without her name on anything. But here's the deeper story, the one behind the headlines. This wasn't just a scandal. It was a transformation. Andrew went from husband to headline, from entrepreneur to internet myth, from man to meme. And Kristin? She went from rising talent to cultural punchline, not because she cheated, that's happened before, but because the world watched it unfold in real time, because there was footage, because there was a song playing, because the kiss wasn't in secret, it was under stadium lights. We live in a world where viral is more powerful than verdicts. In the old days, divorce papers stayed sealed. Now, they trend. We used to whisper about affairs. Now we zoom in on the ring finger during a Coldplay ballad. We don't just follow scandals, we participate in them. Make TikToks, comment theories, pick sides. Forget these are real people. Andrew and Kristin were a couple. Now they're content. And maybe that's the most devastating part. They didn't just lose their marriage. They lost their humanity, repackaged into something we could share, joke about, and move on from. But for them, the story doesn't end with a punchline. It ends with silence, empty rooms, erased photos, private heartbreak. And for Andrew, maybe a new chapter, maybe revenge, maybe redemption. But for Kristin, we may never hear her side. Because sometimes, the internet doesn't just cancel people, it deletes them. What do you do when the most painful moment of your life becomes content? Not a private memory, not a quiet conversation between two people, but a viral event, a trending clip, a punchline on someone else's For You page. That's the world Andrew Cabot woke up to, not just betrayed but broadcast. And how did he respond? Not with rage, not with a Notes app apology, not with a podcast interview or a revenge thread. He responded with silence, with grace, with decisive, final action. And Kristin? She vanished. No comment, no redemption arc, just gone. Two people who once shared a life now living on opposite sides of a screen, one becoming a symbol of quiet strength, the other a shadow of her former self. But here's what no one sees in the retweets, in the TikToks, in the snarky Reddit threads: the cost, the emotional debris left behind when your real life becomes a spectacle. When strangers pick apart your heartbreak like it's a mystery to solve, or a meme to share. So we ask, was this justice? Or just a tragedy caught on camera? Was it truly betrayal? Or was it the final crack in something that had already broken long ago? Can you ever really recover after the whole world watches you fall? Or does part of you stay trapped in that kiss cam clip, in those headlines, in someone else's version of your story? We may never know, but we do know this. Somewhere on the Massachusetts coast, Andrew Cabot walks alone, not broken, not bitter, just beginning again, one step at a time, quiet, determined, still waters, stronger spirits, because sometimes the